Bad weather separates the clueless from the seasoned, and most riders, they get it wrong. They grab the brakes too hard, drop their tire pressure, or wear gear that makes them invisible in a storm. And that's how you go from, "I got this," to sliding across wet pavement wondering why your t-shirt isn't sliding proof. The truth is, surviving and actually enjoying bad weather isn't about luck. It's about knowing what to adjust and how. Get it wrong, and you're at the mercy of nature. Get it right, and you'll feel like you've got superpowers when everyone else is terrified. So let's tear through the riding adjustments for bad weather most riders screw up, and show you how to actually do them the smart way. Number 1. Rain. Grabbing the brakes too hard. The number one rookie move in the rain, grabbing the brakes like you're trying to squeeze juice out of them. The road's wet, traction is limited, and suddenly you're skating forward like Bambi on ice. Panic braking in the rain is how most crashes happen, and yet people keep doing it. The trick isn't to avoid braking, it's to do it right. Smooth, progressive pressure is your best friend. You don't want to surprise your tires. You want to ease them into the idea of slowing down. Squeeze the front brake gently, let the suspension settle, and then add more pressure. At the same time, use a little more rear brake than you normally would. Why? Because in the rain, the rear tire can handle more of the workload without locking up as easily. ABS can save your hide, sure, but don't rely on it as your riding style. Think of ABS like a parachute. It's there if you screw up, not your main plan. If you learn how to modulate brakes in the wet, you'll stop faster, safer, and without that heart-stopping skid. So next time the skies open up, don't strangle your brakes. Treat them like a handshake, not a fist fight. Smooth wins in the rain. Number 2. Rain. Tire pressure assumptions. Here's a myth that refuses to die. Drop your tire pressure in the rain and you'll get more grip. Wrong. Completely wrong. This isn't motocross, and you're not carving ruts in soft dirt. Lowering pressure on the street actually makes you more likely to hydroplane because it flattens out the tire and gives water nowhere to escape. Congratulations, you just turned your rubber into skis. Modern motorcycle tires are designed with grooves and compounds that already channel water away at their recommended pressure. Engineers spent millions figuring this out. You think you're going to outsmart them with a $2 tire gauge and a hunch? Not happening. The correct move is simple. Stick to the factory PSI. Check it before you ride, don't eyeball it, and definitely don't start experimenting because you saw some life hack on a forum. In the rain, consistency is everything. Correct tire pressure gives you the best balance of grip, stability, and water evacuation. If you really want better traction, invest in proper rain-friendly tires, not backyard science. So no, don't drop your pressure. You're not increasing grip. You're just fast-tracking yourself to the world's shortest aquaplane competition. And trust me, you don't want front row tickets to that show. Number 3. Fog. Riding with high beams. When riders hit fog, their first instinct is to flick on the high beams like they're about to part the Red Sea. But instead of seeing more, they blind themselves. Fog is basically a giant white wall made of water droplets. High beams hit that wall, bounce right back at your eyes, and now you're riding inside a glowing milk jug. The fix? Low beams. Always. A low beam cuts under the fog instead of lighting it up, giving you a clearer view of the road ahead. Pair that with a clean visor, or even better, an anti-fog insert or a light-coated dish soap rubbed in, and suddenly you're not riding blind anymore. Another trick, slow down. Sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many riders keep the same pace like they're racing through Silent Hill. In fog, distances look different. Brake lights get fuzzy, and your reaction window shrinks. Ease off on the throttle, increase your following distance, and keep your focus sharp. If visibility gets really bad, pull over and wait it out. No ride is worth plowing into the unknown like a kamikaze pilot with a death wish. Fog is intimidating, sure, but with the right approach, you'll cut through it instead of letting it swallow you whole. Number 4. Cold weather. Ignoring tire warm-up. Cold tires are like cold coffee. Technically the same thing, but they don't work the way you want them to. In chilly weather, your tires take way longer to reach operating temperature, and most riders completely forget that. They roll out of the driveway and lean into turns like it's July, wondering why the bike suddenly feels off or why the rear just twitched mid-corner. The truth is, tires grip through heat. Cold rubber is stiff, slick, and unpredictable. Add a cold road surface underneath, and you've got a recipe for a low-speed, low-side embarrassment. And no, doing a little burnout in the parking lot doesn't magically fix that. Warming up tires in cold weather takes miles, not minutes, and definitely not a throttle blip at a red light. So, what's the adjustment? Ride like you're on eggshells for the first 10 or 15 minutes. Ease into your lean angles. Avoid sharp throttle inputs. And don't trust your usual braking points until you felt the tires settle. Cold mornings are not the time to feel fast. They're the time to feel smart, because the road doesn't care how confident you are. If your tires aren't ready, they'll let you know the hard way. Number 5. Cold starts. Revving the engine immediately. It's a cold morning. You thumb the starter, and that engine groans to life. And what do a lot of riders do next? Twist the throttle like they're trying to prove a point. As if redlining a cold engine somehow warms it up faster. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. All it does is grind cold metal against cold metal while the oil's still half asleep at the bottom of the sump. Engines need time. Cold oil is thick and sluggish. Takes a minute to circulate and properly coat the internals. When you rev hard before that happens, you're running metal on metal friction, and the long-term damage builds up fast. Scored cylinders, worn rings, chewed bearings. It's all invisible at first, until your bike starts sounding like a blender full of gravel. The smart move? Start it. Let it idle for 30 seconds or so. Then ride off gently. Keep the revs low for the first few miles. Let the engine and the oil reach full operating temperature before you ask it to do anything heroic. A cold start isn't a drag strip countdown. It's a handshake. Treat your motor like a machine, not a punching bag, or gonna punch back with a big repair bill. Number 6. Crosswinds. Fighting the wind. You're on a long, open stretch of highway when it hits. A sudden invisible shove from the side. Most riders react the same way. They grip the bars tighter than their first prom date and try to muscle the bike back in line. But here's the catch. Fighting the wind like that just makes it worse. Crosswinds aren't something you can defeat with brute force. When you stiffen up, your bike can't move naturally, and every gust feels like a punch. Your steering gets twitchy, your body becomes a sail, and soon you're zigzagging down the road like a drunk flamingo. Not a good look, not a safe one either. The fix is counterintuitive. Relax. Keep your grip light, elbows loose, and lean your upper body slightly into the wind. Let the bike do its thing underneath you. It'll shift and wiggle, but that's normal. You're aiming for stability, not rigidity. And if it's really gusty, lower your profile and move your weight toward the side the wind's coming from. You're not wrestling the gust, you're blending with it. Crosswinds feel scary at first, but with the right posture and mindset, they become just another part of the ride. Clenching up only tells the wind you're scared, and wind loves scared. Number 7. Heat. Wearing the wrong gear. When summer hits, a lot of riders turn into squids. Shorts, sneakers, and a tank top like it's a beach cruise. And their excuse? It's too hot for gear. But here's the truth. The right gear doesn't cook you alive. It actually keeps you cooler. Ditching protection might feel breezy at a red light, but once you're moving, your skin's getting hammered by hot wind, sun, and road radiation with zero defense. Good summer gear is ventilated, not absent. Mesh jackets, moisture-wicking liners, and breathable armor let air flow while still keeping your hide intact. And here's a kicker. Riding in full gear can actually feel cooler once you're rolling, because it creates a microclimate that protects against the sun. Bare skin just fries in direct heat and dries out fast, leading to faster fatigue and higher dehydration risk. And don't forget the risk factor. A low-speed fall in summer clothes means you're leaving skin on the asphalt. Try explaining your road rash to the ER nurse while dripping sweat and flip-flops. You don't have to choose between safety and comfort. You just have to pick the right gear. Riding gear isn't the problem. Dumb choices are. If you're riding in 100 degrees dressed like you're mowing the lawn, you've already lost. Number 8. Heat. Overfilling the fuel tank. It's a hot day, you're at the gas station, and you want to top off the tank just to the brim. Maybe you're heading out on a long ride, maybe you hate stopping, but when it's scorching out, overfilling your tank is a one-way ticket to a stinky, drippy mess, or worse. Gasoline expands in heat. That's not a maybe, that's a fact. Fill your tank to the cap on a 95-degree day, then park your bike in the sun, and the expanding fuel has nowhere to go, except out the overflow. You'll come back to find a puddle under your bike and that wonderful smell of wasted money. Worse, if the fuel leaks near a hot engine or an electrical component, it's not just messy, it's dangerous. The smarter move, stop when the pump clicks. That's what the vapor space is for, to give expanding gas room to breathe. If you're worried about range, plan your fuel stops, not your overflow. Your bike isn't a barbecue. Don't let it vent gasoline fumes like one. And if you're storing your bike in the heat, same rule applies. Leave some room in the tank. Otherwise, your garage might smell like a refinery, and your paint job might not survive the dribble. Hot fuel is volatile stuff. Don't tempt it. Number 9. Thunderstorms. Hiding under trees. The clouds roll in, thunder cracks, and the rain starts hammering down. You spot a big old tree by the side of the road and think, perfect, shelter! But unless you got a death wish involving electricity, that's one of the worst choices you can make on two wheels. Trees and lightning are old friends. Tall, wet, and grounded, that's lightning's dream date. Parking your bike under one during a storm turns you into a mobile lightning rod, especially if your helmet or handlebars are metal. You might dodge the rain, but you're standing under nature's electrical wiring. On a vehicle connected to the ground by 2 rubber tires, that won't help if lightning jumps sideways through a wet trunk or a nearby ground strike. The smarter option? Get off the road and find a proper structure. Gas station, underpass, even a fast food joint. Something with walls, a roof, and plumbing. Places lightning doesn't want to explore. If that's not an option, pull over safely, stay low, and put distance between you and isolated tall objects. Riding in a thunderstorm is already sketchy. Don't make it worse by hiding under nature's version of a lightning rod. Rain's annoying. A 30,000 amp electrical jolt, that's fatal. Don't get poetic with shelter. Get practical. Number 10. Wet roads. Riding in the center lane. It's been raining and the road's glossy. You're stuck in traffic trying to find the best line. A lot of riders just default to the middle of the lane. Centered, symmetrical, logical, and completely wrong. Because that's where all the oil, grease, and drip fluids collect, especially after the first rain hits. You're not riding on asphalt anymore. You're skating on motor oil soup. That shiny dark strip in the center, that's years of semi-trucks, leaky sedans, and lazy maintenance bleeding their guts out. It builds up slowly over time, and when rain mixes with it, it creates a slick so slippery you could lose traction just by breathing wrong. One brake tap in that mess, and you're fishtailing into somebody's bumper. The adjustment is simple. Ride in the wheel tracks. The left or right tire paths where cars have already pushed the water and oil aside. That's where the grip lives. It also gives you better visibility, more reaction time, and more space to maneuver. Center lane riding might feel natural, but in the wet, it's a trap. One that's just waiting to teach you a very sideways lesson. So pick a track, stick to it, and leave the rainbow-colored slip zone to the drivers who don't know better. You're smarter than that. Number 11. Wet roads. Painted lines and metal covers. When the road's wet, some surfaces go from grippy to grease lightning, and most riders don't realize which ones are the worst. Painted lane marking, arrows, crosswalks, and those big metal manhole covers become instant traps. They might as well be Teflon, but riders treat them like normal pavement, leaning into the mid-turn or braking right on top. That's how you end up sliding across an intersection on your butt, wondering what just happened. These surfaces don't absorb water. They hold it. Paint becomes slick, especially when it's thick or reflective. Metal covers? Even worse. Zero traction, and usually right where you need the grip the most, in the middle of the lane or smack in your turning radius. So here's the move. When you spot them, straighten the bike. Brake before you reach them, then coast over upright with no lean, no throttle, no brakes. If you're turning, widen your line to avoid them entirely. And don't even think about stopping with your foot on one at a red light unless you want to test your boots' ice skating abilities. Paint and metal don't play fair when it's wet. They'll bite you without warning, and once the rear slides out, it's too late to remember what you should have done. Plan ahead or pay the price. Number 12. Fogged visor. Opening it too much. Your visor starts fogging up and instinct kicks in. You crack it wide open to clear the view. Problem is, now the rain's pelting your face, your eyes are watering, and the cold wind's cutting through you like a knife. Visibility might be better for a second, but now you can't see from the tears. And you're flinching every time a raindrop nails your eyeball at 60 miles an hour. Most riders don't realize there's a better solution. Cracking the visor too much lets in more problems than it solves. And trying to ride with it half open in the rain? It's like trying to watch a movie through a broken window in a car wash. The fix is proper prep. Install a pin lock insert or anti-fog treatment before you ever ride into the mist. A pin lock creates a double pane system that prevents fog before it starts. If you don't have one, you can crack the visor just slightly, a micro gap, barely enough to let air flow through without letting the weather in. Combine that with breathing down toward your chin, and the fog stays manageable without turning your face into a cold, wet mess. Riding in fog is already tough. Don't make it worse by blinding yourself with your own bad fix. Number 13. Bad visibility. Wearing dark gear. You're riding through the rain, fog, or low light conditions, dressed head to toe in matte black because it looks cool, and it does, in the mirror. But to everyone else on the road, you've basically activated stealth mode. Car drivers can barely see other cars in bad weather. Good luck spotting a shadowy silhouette on two wheels with no reflectivity and no lighting cues. Visibility isn't just about headlights. Your gear matters more than you think. Reflective piping, high-vis panels, or even just bright-colored gloves can make the difference between getting noticed and getting hit. And no, looking like Batman won't help when a minivan merges into your ribcage because you blended into the drizzle like a fog ghost. Riders who wear all black in a storm are betting on luck. Riders who stay visible are betting on physics, light reflection, contrast, motion cues. You don't have to look like a traffic cone, but at least give yourself a chance. Add reflective tape to your helmet, wear a vest if the forecast turns, or pick gear with subtle high-vis zones that catch headlights when it counts. In bad visibility, your biggest danger isn't slick roads, it's being invisible. Don't dress for the ride, dress like you want to survive it. But now you know better. You know where the grip is, how the wind behaves, why the cold matters, and what your bike's really trying to tell you when the skies turn ugly. Weather doesn't have to be your enemy, just another challenge. And like anything in riding, it rewards preparation, not bravado. So next time the forecast looks rough, don't ask, should I ride? Ask, how should I ride? That mindset alone puts you ahead of most. And remember, if you're smart in the bad times, you'll still be around to enjoy the good ones. Stay sharp, ride smart, and don't let the weather make decisions for you. That's your job.